No, 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 no. I can't do full screen with this. You guys won't be able to read it. Okay, so each of you guys should have picked up a sheet here. This delineates the project. This is what you guys are going to be turning in. You will be turning this in on Gradescope. What you're going to do is turn in the poster part, but the poster should just be something about the size of an 8.5 by 11 page. More like a flyer than one of those 3 by 5 posters. So a small page is what I'm looking for. Let's first talk about the class project, part 2, inferential analysis part. You have to complete these steps to be able to give me this information on the other side. But I'm not actually going to make you turn in and write up to this part. This is work that you will need, but I'm not going to have that turned in because I'm just going to combine it together into one part, and you're going to turn that all in one part, the final write-up of it. So here's how it works. What you need to do on your first one is finding confidence intervals. So you're finding a 95% confidence interval. Now, you do not have to do this by hand, and you do not have to type all your data into your TI-83 or TI-84 calculator. I have posted a link on eClass to be able to calculate your confidence intervals and your hypothesis test. There's a link there on eClass. Might not be where you think it is. I'll double check and make sure it's put up with the project. I had them all grouped differently earlier, so I changed that, and I'll make sure I change it to the right spot. But you have a link. So on the first one, you're finding a 95% confidence interval for the difference in the mean arm length of men and the mean arm length of the women. So the length of the arms combining men and women. Your confidence interval for that is going to either be all positive, all negative, or both positive and negative. Based off of the information from that, you're going to tell me whether they seem to be the same or not, approximately the same. Is the average approximately the same, or is the average in some interval positive and negative? You're going to do the difference for the height as well, height of the men, height of the women, confidence interval for the height of the men, height of the women. Draw conclusions about that, confidence interval as well. The conclusions under 1A are going to be number 3 and number 4. Those are going to be the conclusions based off of whether your interval is all positive, all negative, or a combination of both of them. Then on number 2, on 1B, you're going to find, it says, we wish to determine if the average length of the forearm of an individual is the same for both men and women. So we're going to construct a hypothesis test for this data. State H0, state H1. When you're reporting your hypothesis test on your poster, you need to tell me what H0, H1 is and the conclusions. You don't have to tell me alpha. You don't have to tell me the p-value if you did the p-value method. You don't have to tell me your sample test statistic and your critical value if you did the traditional method. You have to tell me the null and alternate hypothesis and the conclusion. That's what I'm looking for. And then on that's part B, so that's going to be the average length of the forearm, and we want then part C is the average height of an individual, but we're going to be doing the average height of the individual using linear regression. So height and forearm for confidence intervals, length of the forearm for hypothesis test, height of the individuals for linear regression. And I have posted a link for linear regression on eClass. You just copy your data and paste it into the link. It will give you a pretty picture. Download the pretty picture and save it to your computer so that you can put it as a picture on your 8.5 by 11 flyer that you're going to construct. On these, you need to determine if they're strongly correlated or not. Remember, strongly correlated is something approximately bigger than 0.9 for your R-squared value. If it's bigger than 0.8, you're fairly strong. If it's just R, you need bigger than 0.9 or smaller than 0.1, minus 0.9, depending on whether you're at 1 or minus 1, whether you're close to those. So linear regression is for part C. And then part number 2 here says Repeat all of the above using your data set with the outliers removed. So the first part is all of the data, and the second part is outliers removed. We have already talked about removing the outliers in the first part of the project. So you should have the two data sets, one with everything in it, one with the outliers removed. Repeat the process with the outliers removed. If there is a difference in your conclusions when you remove the outliers, then report that answer in your 8.5 by 11 poster that you're reporting. So if there's a difference in your conclusions, report it. If there's no difference when you remove the outliers, then report that. Just give me a sentence saying that you looked at the outliers on it. That is the project analysis that you have to do. That's in order to be able to draw our conclusions. If we flip over and talk about our statistics project write-up, what I want is something more graphical in nature, a picture, a flyer, something that you would post up and someone walking by could get the whole picture of what your conclusions are. Remember, we are trying to determine what a cubit is in length. It's approximately the length of your forearm to your fingertips. What is that in average? Should it have changed from biblical times to our times? Is there a difference? Is it approximately the same? Is it different between men and women? That type of thing. You're trying to answer that question, what is a cubit? Someone walking by and looking at your flyer should be able to determine that answer very easily. There should not be much writing on your final report on your project. It should be something more artistic in nature. You're going to include pictures on here. You're going to include graph on here. You're going to include 1 or 2 short sentences describing what your problem is that you're trying to answer, and 1 or 2 short sentences describing your conclusion. No more than that as far as words go, except for your null and alternate hypothesis for your hypothesis test part. You get to figure out how you want it to be laid out, but it should be something so that someone walking by would understand it at just a glance. They are not going to take time to read much of it. Convey your answer in just a glance. Use any pictures you want. Use any graphics that you want to get that answer, but that answer needs to be easily conveyed. To check that you have actually achieved your goal, show your flyer to someone not in this class and ask them what it means to them. If they cannot come up with your conclusion inside of about 30 seconds, you haven't conveyed your information well. Does that make sense? This is something a passerby should understand in about 30 seconds. That's all they're going to take on a poster. You have to convey your information very quickly. This is not something to be precise like a scientific poster session that you would go to a conference with. That has a lot more technical data on it. I'm not asking for that technical data. I want you guys to have fun with this. Make it pretty. Make it something that will convey the information easily. Make it something that's going to be fun for me to grade. I have 48 of them to grade. I want it to be entertaining. And make sure it is not identical to your friend who is also in this class, because you'll get a 0 for it. So don't copy it. Don't share your work. Keep it personal. This is your poster conveying your information. Your information is going to be the same, but how you present it is your own. So make sure your presentation is your own. It cannot be identical to someone else's. Everybody will get a 0 who has identical posters in there. So don't share your posters with your friends in this class if they don't have a copy of it. If they don't have a picture of it, they can't duplicate it. Make sure it's your own. That is important. And the last thing I have to tell you, no poster, no pass for this class. No poster, no pass. You can have an A in this class and not turn in a poster, and I will give you an F. I did that last semester. Go back and ask people. No poster, no pass. Okay? Your poster is graded, yes, and it's only 15% of your grade, I believe. So if you don't do well on your poster, you still get a decent grade in the class. But I have to check off that everybody who passed this course turned in the poster, turned in this project to the General Education Committee. That means that if you're going to pass this course, you have to turn one in to me. No poster, no pass. You guys understand that? I don't want to give any F's this semester. If you're in here, you're passing this class. Do the poster. It's not hard. The last thing you need to know is when is it due? It's due on Gradescope, 10 o'clock Wednesday. 10 o'clock Wednesday. On Gradescope, 10 o'clock Wednesday night. Not 10 o'clock Wednesday morning, 10 o'clock Wednesday night. On Gradescope, due on Gradescope. So if you have any questions, you can ask me in class on Wednesday on that also. Question, and then I'll get yours. Yeah. No, it should be about the size of an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. A good piece of software to make it in, guys, is going to be PowerPoint. You can make these nicely in PowerPoint. You can make them in Word. We'll also do some layout stuff, but PowerPoint allows you to put pictures in relatively easily and where you want them. So you can make a single page on a PowerPoint, and that's good enough, but it's one page. Yeah.
So the part 2 of the project is due when?
Part 2 is what you have to report on in part 3. So I'm not actually having you turn in part 2.
So we're not turning part 2 today, we're turning everything in.
You're turning in everything on Wednesday, 10 o'clock.
So like the poster part 2.
Yeah, you're just going to submit your poster, print it to a PDF and submit the PDF on Gradescope. Don't take a picture of it because that'll be too small. But you can actually, you're creating it on a computer, more than likely. So just print it to a PDF. There's Microsoft does PDF, print to PDF. Use a Microsoft printer to print it to PDF and submit the PDF. You don't have to print anything out. You just put it into a PDF and submit the PDF. It's just like a Word document. But you have to submit, you have to turn it into this PDF. Yeah. The last one I made was a very technical presentation. And there were 70 people in that class and they got very bored of reading it after person number 4. So I'm changing it this year. So I don't have any posters per se, but have fun with it. Make it your own. Just conveys a little bit of information that we're talking about. Answer the question, what is it depending on whether you're a guy or a girl. That type of thing. Does it depend on height, in which case the people were taller back in the Old Testament and the Bible, maybe they're typical later, that type of thing. So answer those basic questions. Yeah.
2 questions just to clarify. For using project 2, like, just want the conclusions, like,
okay, this part for the project 2 never going to be turned in. But that information you need with this, along with your part from project 1, you're going to have some information from that. That was your data collection, that was finding the mean and standard deviation, that type of thing. You're going to need that information to actually do your confidence intervals and stuff like that. So that's where that comes in. And then you're turning in just your final write-up, which is all of this information synthesized into one piece of paper, one page on Word.
And then the second question, on 1B, like it says, draw conclusions in the context of this problem. That's like when you write the sentence out and
Yeah, so if it doesn't matter on the height,
well, we came across a problem, but we're not sure what level of significance. There's no like alpha stage.
So you need to choose.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to choose. Use whatever level of significance you want. This is your project. And just tell me. Yeah. Question. The write-up, you're just trying to answer the questions on the back here. Basic, your introduction, but yeah, what? Yeah, the write-up and the poster are the same thing. So you're just answering the questions. What is Cupid and how do you determine it? So that basic information on it. Question?
So you said we would need H0. And
Yeah.
what would the previous needed to know for sure all this are?
You need to know the null and alternate hypothesis, and you either have to do a traditional test or a p-value test. And the online will give you either option. Whichever option you choose to do, report your results. So null, alternate, and results is what I'm looking for. And you can incorporate that into a little picture type thing, a little statement, but don't be real wordy here. Convey your information very rapidly. Not real technical. Any other questions on that? Okay, if you guys run into any problems in the process of trying to make your poster, bring your questions to me in class on Wednesday. That's right, we have until 10 o'clock Wednesday night, just in case you have some questions you need, or send me an email ahead of time, and I can answer those questions for you. The project has to be completed by 10 o'clock Wednesday night. No project by 10 o'clock Wednesday night, no pass the class.
And then that would give you, you plug in all the information right there, and then you'll get information that's, yeah, you should have the information. Yeah, okay, so that means E1 is greater than E2. The average of the first, so you probably did guys with this girls, and so the average of the 400 guys increased greater than 400 girls.
Oh. Just the fact is,
Each guy has always been 1 equals 0, and then each one says, so you can decide if you want to tell them what counts. And then you would say you want greater than 2, you want 2 tails, you want not equal to 2. You can decide whichever one you want. If you can do the value method, or you can do the conditional method. It doesn't matter, you don't have to worry about it, because you have variation because that's the issue. You want minus 0.
this one, the bed,
Depending on how you want it to be set up. You can say, okay, I want to say that the minus quadrant is bigger than 1, so you want it greater than 2, or not equal to 2, whichever one, doesn't matter.
so if I would say like, man's on like always there,
So it will be greater than 1.
that
Yeah.
conclusion for this is just by God.
Yeah, if you reject the null hypothesis, you know, you can state your alternate hypothesis, here's the average of it's longer than that.
Oh.
So I just like our first one, and I just really felt the difference. Like I don't
So can we, sure, that's what I mean.
It should be comfortable, it should be.
That's great.
18, 20 tons, something like that.
Okay,
I mean,
See, if you go back and look at this paper here, see, it's being out there, 1.2.
which one? That's what I'm asking, so I, based on another part.
This tells you that your U1 minus U2 is not,
So it's not possible.
yeah, between the average for the minus 30 and the average.
Okay. And that was for this one.
That's for this part. That's your,
So we can use this problem also as well.
so this part is your confidence interval. You want to, so this is your user.
For about 8, yeah,
Yeah.
this was,
Those are confidence intervals.
yeah, and I pretty much said something similar based off of that, and I said we conclude that.
So don't tell me this part right here, what I'm going to is that confidence interval.
Okay, want that confidence.
Yes, I want 2.23 to 2.9.
And also one problem, set up poster on certain things, so in reality, when you're putting this on the poster.
No, you're not taking, you're putting this information into these 4 sections. You should have the introduction, how you got your information. Just show what you're seeing on social media and, you know, whatever you want to do, or whatever you're trying to. Or the short sense, but try not to be sentences. And then, describe, your data, so, your graph, so that your regression graph. Yeah, or your data points that we have for the on-time piece, so that's fine for, go, yeah, that's your regression.
In order to be able to, that's all time. Yeah. So it's like,
And then your safety test and your, confidence intervals. And so, just give them what their conclusion is, and then your final conclusion on, so what is it
okay. So then with this part, we were just saying, in the first part, you would want the difference of that bracket with that range, right here, and then down here based on that range. Typically, what based off. And then this is kind of like why based off of these numbers, which is not really right, but then again, kind of going close to the other numbers. So I basically decided to go like things together, go away and just bring it together. It's like all values are positive, so therefore that's
Except when we're actually wrapping it up, we're gonna keep it extremely short. We're just gonna say that at the 95% level is significant, and that's greater than down here, and don't do all values are positive or anything else. Just that, on your poster, that is all you do.
so just have okay. And then kind of the same thing, like I mean, I kind of did with that bracket for part one or part A, but based off of the numbers I looked at, same thing for that part, the type was average higher. So. And then
You have this set up right. Some of this, I think I don't have the test up on.
yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out myself to do that.
I have to look for it on I just have to do it from, I have it figured out.
Okay, and the same thing with this, we're going to use this part based off of this part here.
Yeah, it's just how we did our non-alternate hypothesis or hypothesis.
So, still want pretty much everything on this, on the poster, except like summarized a little bit.
Very similar, even big sentences.
Okay.
where you step up.
Right, starts to do enough to
Love that on TIA. That's up to you. Okay, so then maybe you wanna say, yeah, it, I know it's gonna go like problems. Now we want to see. And now, we can go back to our, this is now to your part.
go for I count for what time. I don't know what's the actual difference.
Yeah, I don't
Some
know
of all
what
the-
it says on it, I'm not so much.
I had a very good set. It described, said it was given this control. So that makes sense.
Well, you have the information, okay, she's trying to, so go back up, what is her,
Understand.
your Florida Jennings, and then the senior engagement.
She said there's a.
Oh, we can always change it later. That's why I said the question of what you did for the women's department.
It's just sort of reduction, so it goes, it's sort of once you want all those, like that, it's like a. So we just have. It's not real.
Remember there was someone that had, yeah, there was someone that had, as a problem with this, and it was like,
Yeah, but it's not.
He just added, that was,
I want you to summarize it. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, picture of how you got the information. It just shows you, a bullet item or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, and you don't have to identify, you know, how to try to, yeah. The random that's all you want, yeah. Introduction, yes. And, well, at the time, you're telling me is what is and then how you got your data. So, measure yourself and something else, you just have a picture of you. And then give a description, this is like your circle. Like it gives you, it visually describes your Yes. Just not the way the axes are what they are. And then, the confidence intervals. So your confidence intervals in the test. You're just gonna tell me correlation of those attributes in a way about the and then your confidence intervals, you're gonna send the test and you tell me what that or also you don't actually tell me all necessarily all the individuals in combining together, you don't have so one
This is like, these parts are very important, right? That's why our integrity can still tell.
they are, yeah. Then you can kind of tell me a little picture of the guy and also and with you know, the color and that type of thing.
So,
And then you find how does that impact your definition? Which tells you about Yes, exactly. So you're reporting to someone, what does it do? That change, and they should get it. Okay?
yeah, you're gonna ask about the,
What is that what you're gonna ask me about?
Yeah, it was-
So do that.
is that also this kind of test?
Yeah, that's a t-test. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.